Hello everyone, a very good morning to all of you and assalamu alaikum. I hope you all are fine and having a good health. In this video, we are going to revise what we have read in the whole week. So let's get started. We have read unit number 8, Saving Grandma's Tree, in this week. Let's just go through it once. So as we have read this chapter already, we know that we have read the importance of trees, that why are they important, what do we do with them, and how do they help us. Now coming towards the text. So what we have read in this text was there was a girl whose name was Heidi. She used to live in a village that was surrounded by forests all around. She used to have a grandmother who was swept away in a great flood. There was an old ash tree in that village where Heidi with her grandmother used to sit often. Now, as her grandmother had already died in a flood, now she alone used to sit under that tree and thinks of her grandmother. She used to miss her grandmother under that tree. One day what happens is that she hugs the tree and says, "You are my best friend." She was so busy in missing her grandmother that she didn't notice what was happening around her. She was so dissolved in her thoughts. But suddenly she saw some dusty trucks that were coming there and stopping nearby her. Suddenly, when she saw the trucks, she ran back to the village and told her mother that some men have came from the timber company with their axes to cut down the trees. Then Heidi's mother ran out to other neighborhood area and she told all the women around. And when she told all the women about this scenario, all the women picked up their drums like an army and they marched into the forest to save their trees. And they started to shout out loud, "Save the trees, save the trees." The reason that they wanted to save the trees was that trees help us save from the landslides or floods because they act as a barrier. And Heidi's grandmother was also died in a flood that was caused by cutting out the trees. Now, after that, women started to hug the trees and started to cry out loud, "Save the trees." After that, the men who came over there, one of them threw the axe down on the floor because he also remembered the time when he lost his mother in the flood. After that, one by one, all the men get back into their trucks and they started the engines. The boss of these men, he also reluctantly climbed in with them, and he thought that he had lost the chance of getting the timber resin end for an exchange. This is what happened in this chapter. So in this chapter we read that why the trees are important and why should we save them. So the answer is that the trees help us save our lives and our villages from getting destroyed by the floods or the landslides. So they act as a barrier in front of the mountains and also they save our lives. After that, there were some difficult words that I have made remark and you have written down in your notebooks. There are some words meanings which we have done in this chapter. Let's just go through them briefly. The first word that you can see over here is swept. Swept. It means cleaned away. Then the second word is surrounded. It means covered on all sides. Then we have the third word, firewood, which means a wood that is used for burning. The fourth word is troop. It means to move in a group. The fifth word we have over here is the timber. It means wood. The next word is arrived, which means reached. The seventh word is alert. That means to warn someone. Then the next word is echoes. It means the voices that repeat themselves. For example, when we speak in an empty room, the voices come back to us, the voices repeat, so they are called the echoes. Then we have the next word, landslide. It means falling of rocks from a mountain. The next word is clasp. It means to hold something very tightly. The next word is cling. It means to remain in a close contact with something. The next word is reluctantly. It means hesitantly. When someone is not willing to do something and still he has to do that, it means he is doing that hesitantly. These were all the words meaning which we have done in this chapter, and I have asked you to make sentences of these words, so you must have done that in your notebooks. Let's come to the exercise, page number 94 now. On this page we have reading comprehension exercise A. The first one is to circle the correct option. The first statement is, what happened to Heidi's grandmother? The options are, she was sitting under her tree and fell asleep. The second option is, she was collecting firewood and got lost in the forest. And the third option is, she was swept away in the flood. In these all three options, the correct one is the C. She was swept away in the flood. The second one is, where does Heidi live? The option A is next to a river. Option B is in a village surrounded by forests. And option C is in a village surrounded by water. So the correct option is option B. Heidi lives in a village that was surrounded by forests. Here we have the third statement. Why does Heidi say to the ash tree, you are my best friend? So the option A is, Heidi does not have other friends and her best friend in the ash tree is the ash tree. The option B is, Heidi remembers the good times she spent with her grandmother under the tree. And the option C is, Heidi is thanking the tree for being a good friend. So the correct option is option B. Heidi remembers the good times she spent with her grandmother under the tree, as we have read in the chapter. Now let's just review the exercise C, which is true and false. In this we have to tell which statement is true and which statement is false. The first one is, they asked their children and families to move away from the village. In this statement, they means the women, the women of the village. So when the men from the timber company, they came in the village, what happened there and what did the women do to save the trees, or were they going to let them cut the trees? So we have to tell whether this statement is true or false according to that situation. Now the first one was, they asked their children and families to move away from the village. So is it true or is it false? They didn't ask their children and families to move away from the village. Rather, they went into the village to stop the men from cutting down the trees. So this statement is false. Then we have the second one. They say that it is all right to cut down the trees, but not too many. Did the women say that you can cut some of the trees but not all of them? No, this is not correct. This statement is also false, because they did not allow them to cut even a single tree. Then we have the third one. They hugged the trees to save them from being cut down. Is it true? Yes, this is true. This statement is true because they saved the trees by hugging them. So the men could not come near to them. The fourth and the last one is, they wait and watch for the trees to be cut down. Did they do this? No, they didn't do this. Rather, they hugged the trees and they did not allow anyone to touch the trees. So this statement is also false. The next exercise is exercise D, in which we have to match the sentences to the words that best describe the characteristics of the people. Here, what we have to do, in each statement, there are some words that are written in bold handwriting. So the words that are in bold, we have to make a guess by these words that what kind of person would that be, or what kind of characteristic is that if a person is having that. So let's just read out the words in front of these statements, and let me just tell you their meanings so that it will be easier for you to match them. The first word is brave. As we all know that brave means someone who is so brave and have the bravery to do anything without fear. He does not fear anyone or anything. The second word is determined. Determined means a person who is determined would be a person who would do anything till the end. Till the last he would try to succeed, even if he fails so many times. He would not give up. So the next word is thoughtful. Thoughtful is the person who is always thinking about something and is always busy in his wondering, and is busy in remembering something or reminding something. Then we have the next word, leadership. Leadership is the quality of a person who is always ready to lead the other people, and all the other people follow him. He would always take the first step to teach everyone else what to do and how to do. So leadership is the quality of a leader person. Then we have the last word, concerned. Concerned is the quality or the characteristic of a person that is so concerned about something. Like he would worry so much about a problem or a thing. If something bad happens, he would be worrying about it, that how to solve that problem or how to resolve it. So concern is the characteristic of that person. Now we have the first statement. Heidi remembers her grandmother often. Now the word that is in bold is remembers. As I told you that remembers is somewhat related to a person who is thoughtful. So we will match this with the word thoughtful. Heidi remembers her grandmother often, so Heidi is a thoughtful person. The second one is Heidi worries about the trees and the village when the trucks come. Now worries, it means she is concerned about the trees and she wants to resolve the problem, that how to save the trees from being cut down. Now a person who worries about something, it means that is concerned about something. Now the characteristic of Heidi is that she is concerned. The third one is Heidi's mother takes the first step to alert the village. Now Heidi's mother is taking the first step to alert the women, and also she is leading other women and telling them what to do. So a person who takes the first step is a leader. So the quality of this women is leadership. The fourth one is the women in the village march into the forest without fear. Now the women marched into the forest without fear means they did not fear of anything. They are not afraid of anything. So they have bravery. It means they are related to the word brave. So they have the characteristic bravery. So we will match it with brave. The last one is they continue hugging the trees until they know the trees will not be cut. Now until, it means they kept on hugging the trees till the last time. So they did not give up until the men go away. So the quality of these women and the characteristic of these women were, they were determined. We will match this statement with the word determined. Next we have the question answers exercise B, in which we have to answer the following questions. The first one is, what interrupts or breaks Heidi's thoughts as she sits under the tree? The answer to this question is, Heidi's thoughts are broken when the dusty trucks slow down to a stop. It means that when Heidi was sitting under that old ash tree and she was missing her grandmother, she was dissolved in her thoughts. What happened suddenly then? Then some dusty trucks came over there in the village and stopped over there. Then she suddenly saw the trucks and her thoughts were broken. The next question is, what does Heidi tell her mother when she runs back? Now, when the men came over there and she saw them, she ran back to the village to her mother. And what did she tell her mother? The answer is, she tells her mother that men from timber company have arrived with axes to cut down the trees. So she told her mother that some men have come to cut down the trees, so something should be done to save the trees. The third one is, what does Heidi's mother do? The answer is, Heidi's mother runs out to alert the neighbors. Now what happened, there was as she was a single woman, so she could not do anything, so she ran to the neighborhood areas and she told the other women that this is going to be happen and we have to do something to save the trees. So she alert other neighbors. So students, I hope you have understood each and everything which we have read in this chapter so far. I would like to ask you all that keep doing your work on a regular basis, because it is very necessary for you all. Otherwise it will be very difficult for you to complete all the work at one time. Now take a lot of care of yourselves. Allah Hafiz.